Wednesday night. Good evening, everyone. 1 hour later than normal time, so we will give everyone a little bit time to catch up. It is Wednesday night, SFMF Live. Good evening. How's everybody doing? All right. If you can put it up on screen, the big screen.
Did it go over here?
Yep. Lights, camera, action. Are we up? 5x5. Lima Charlie, loud and clear. Lingo. How about some Marine Corps lingo and acronyms? We'll talk about that a little bit later tonight. You can put it up on the board. Another great comment. Recruiting. Current recruiting.
Are you sure it did it?
I heard the bing, but no sound.
Sounds terrible.
Well, you say that 100% of the time. How's it sound for everyone? Maybe you should listen to it live from your computer. Try
Nope.
that. Nope. All right.
It's not even connected.
What do you want to do? Take it out, put it back in? I don't know.
Now it says it's connected.
It made that sound.
Okay, keep talking after you.
Connected to live chat. That's what it says on the sound. Is good. It says Randall. It says Annie Banani.
Now it's good.
Now it's good, she says. Sounds good. Good evening. Welcome. Just did that. Boom. She's doing something behind the camera. Lima Charlie. Right there. Lima Charlie. Phonetic alphabet. Do you use the phonetic alphabet, and do you use military time? It's not just a military thing. It is military time, and it's for a specific reason. Never a doubt in your mind if you tell someone to meet you at 6:06, or if you just say 6, you know it's 6 in the morning. So phonetic alphabet, military time, Marine Corps lingo, all of it. We're going to talk about all that tonight. And we're going to talk about recruiting as well. I want to say thank you for praying for me. It meant a lot to me, and I love your channel. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate you, brother. And we're still praying for you. Water and lemon from David Bryant, North Carolina. You know I got some coffee. So I'm stacking. Yes, on both accounts. Carl Green, what's happening, brother? Good to see you. Let's hear it. Smooth something. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Charlie Echo, Annie Banani. There you go. There's some phonetic alphabet right there. All right. Heavy J says we're Lima Charlie. All right. I think we're Lima Charlie. Sound, mic, audio, visual, calm. Who needs calm? Everyone needs calm. Don't even try it. You can talk about them, but you can't talk without them. I got your back, calm. All right. We're in Lima Charlie. First deployment will be against Russia. Are you sure? South? Need advice from someone experienced in the field. C1 South. Who are you going to Russia with? What service are you in? And are you really? I think that might be some top secret stuff you're talking about. Stack says it right there. Smooth is slow. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. The purpose of the phonetic alphabet, B, C, D, E, G, P, T, B, Z, will sound the same on a PRC, a radio. Absolutely does. Maybe with today's communication abilities, it might not be as difficult, but it still is. You talk on the phone with somebody about trying to give your VIN to someone over the phone. All right, start over. Would you say B or D or V? So 100% absolutely clears it up. And it's fun talking to two civilians, and their phonetic alphabet is a little bit different. B as in boy, A as in apple. The word you use has to clearly be starting with the letter that you're trying to talk about. So don't mix that up. That's why the Marine Corps, the military, came up with the phonetic alphabet. A, alpha. There's no other way to say alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo. Those are all specific, but it helps. And I do use it with civilians, especially, again, Charlie Echo, because as soon as I say my name, they say, how do you spell that? C-E-D-E-T-C-D-E-D-E-B. So yes, it definitely works. Jake doesn't like being a civilian. I wouldn't either. All right, Jake. We know we know what you'd like to do. Police officers are almost up to par. They have a different phonetic alphabet as well, but they use it again for the same reason. Recognized by my peers and promoted now. Man, I missed it, Heavy J. I didn't see all of it. Ooh, good one. That was Heavy J. He's being promoted ahead of his peers. Either way, you're being promoted.
Recognized by my peers and promoted. Now what? How do I stay hungry?
Recognized by my peers and now promoted. How do I stay active, not stagnant? How to stay hungry, not stagnant? That's great. That is awesome. That's a great question because that happens far too often when people get promoted. Oh, good God, I'm seeing it all the time. Too often. I don't remember seeing it in the Marine Corps too often. And I think I got a little bit spoiled by that because a Marine gets promoted to the next rank and he's going already working towards the next promotion or the next rank. And here's why. Here's one of the biggest reasons why I always did want to get promoted, because I was one of those lance corporals like everyone else. Man, if I was a corporal, I'd be doing this. When I became corporal, after learning my ways, I believe I was doing all those things I wanted to do. And I wanted to be able to influence more, right? As a fire team leader, it was great. In combat, it was a Desert Storm. I was a fire team leader in charge of 3 Marines. And that was cool. All it made me want to do is become a squad leader so I can be in charge of more Marines, the whole squad, platoon sergeant, the whole platoon, and so on and so forth. I mean, it worked all the way up to, that's why I wanted to be a battalion sergeant major of an infantry battalion. Get some. Because more people I can influence. That did carry over to my retired life and jobs that I've had. I always want to be able to influence more. It's great for a small organization. I don't want to say it's easy, just experience will get you there, to always want to do more for more. Problem is, there are those leaders that get up to that position, and we talk about this a lot, but they get complacent. Made it to the top, now I'm done. Wrong answer. You make it to the top, your work doubles. You should be working twice as hard the higher you go, influencing more people. Right? I'm telling you, battalion sergeant major is the best job in the Marine Corps, my opinion. I know those of you that love your job, amen to you. That was the ultimate for me. Battalion sergeant major for an infantry battalion in combat. Awesome. Again, once some people get to those positions, they stop. McJunkin?
Yes.
John McJunkin. Hello from everyone here at the restaurant. Uncle John is down. Oh, man. Can you read it, please? McJunkin is down with what? All of our love and blessings, please pass on to Big John. Tell him, hang tough. We got his back. We'll be thinking about him all night. We'll be praying for him. Hang tough, John. We'll see you soon. Stack says, Sergeant, did you ever meet First Sergeant Randall Parks? He's done a few podcasts with Urban Valor. He has a motivating story. I have not. Producer, can you write that down? Randall Parks. We'll check him out. Love to get him on here. Get him on our channel. Love being a first responder. A first responder. Right there from the producer. You can pass that on to Big John McJunkin. Appreciate the update. We'll be sending extra prayers up. Please let him know we miss him. Amen, John. Hang tough, buddy. We got you. So how do you not become stagnant? One, just the fact that you're thinking about it, I think you're already ahead of the game, right? You know it could happen. You must have had some leaders in your organization that you've seen it had happened to. So recognizing it is part of the problem. A Marine leadership principle: know yourself and seek self-improvement. Right? That's huge. That's a great leadership principle for everyone to go off of. Know yourself and seek self-improvement. If you know you're lacking in an area, you got to first be honest with yourself and admit it to yourself. This is where I need work. and get help. Find a mentor. Choose a mentor and even ask that individual, would you mind mentoring me? When that's huge, it's an honor to be asked that. So that mentor he or she will gain experience from that and knowledge from that as well. So both parties win in a mentor-mentee situation. Promise you. But knowing there's a problem is absolutely half the battle. Again, a problem is that I've seen very recently is I'm not sure they know that there's a problem. I'm not sure that they know that the problem is them specifically. They are the problem. So, in order to convince someone of that, or of course, tact and someone in a higher position than you had to use tact. It's a leadership trait that sometimes gets pretty tough. Where's Lay Cookie? It's tough, especially again when they're just not hearing it. How about when you're giving a speech or you're chewing butt to your whole shop, right? Your whole platoon, your whole organization. I take it back. When you're receiving a butt chewing to your organization, you're in the crowd with everyone else getting their butt chewed. How many times you sit there thinking, man, I wonder who he's talking about, or I know who he's talking about, or man, they better get their stuff together so we stop getting our butt chewed. He might be talking to you. That's the problem. I think that happens far too often. You're in that setting and you don't think they're talking to you. If the shoe fits, wear it. But there's people, what are those people called narcissists, that don't think you're talking to them. So they'll sit through the butt chewing, they'll let it go in one ear, out the other, the whole time thinking, he ain't talking to me. Detach, step back and listen to every word they have to say and see if it fits you. You have to look back and you have to stop and think, man, showing up late, leadership by text, not having any one-on-ones, any face-to-face, not putting my foot down when I need to put the foot down, not challenging a decision by my boss. Sir, I hear you. I understand. I will comply and I'll do everything that you're telling me to do. But would you mind listening to an alternative course of action for that? Would that be okay? And there's some authoritarian, hard-headed leaders that won't listen. Does that mean you give up? Well, the boss said no. The boss said no. How about that type of leader that blames the boss for everything? Sir, can we do this? Can we try this tomorrow? Training schedule? The boss won't do it. He'll never allow it. He'll never change that policy. Never? Really? Never? How about if you do your homework and get some research on it and get input from everyone that it is affecting and say, sir, here's what we'd like to do and here's why. Here's how it is a better situation, a better course of action, mission accomplishment. Everything is covered in this. Please, let's try it. Give us an opportunity to show you that it will work. Prove to you that it will work. And then how about this one? Yeah, something we'll look at for next year. Next year? What are you waiting for? You know the problem. You see the problem. It can be fixed. Can problems be fixed overnight? Let's try. How about that? Well, we'll wait. We'll do a little more research. No, we've done all that. We've lived it. We've learned it. We've experienced it. We've suffered through it. We've powered through it. Let's make a change. Ever. Got a Wednesday night troll already. Some leaders are walking cluster flops. Very well put, David. Yes. PG. It's just a fact. It's a fact, and it's worse when I don't know what's worse. Is it worse if they don't know that they're cluster flop? Like they have no idea, oblivious to it? Hey, man, everything's going great. Or if they do know and they're still doing it, right? Doing it to do it because they're in charge. It's bad. Bad leadership. Completely destroy a unit, an organization. People don't leave bad organizations, they leave bad leadership. Said that before, right? We see that people don't leave bad units, they leave bad leadership because of bad leadership. Something to look at. Again, if you're a boss, why do I have high turnover? Why do I have employees coming and going? Why I can only keep someone here 1 year, 2 years? Even 3 years is not a very long time. You don't get continuity in positions. What's the problem? Time for that leader to step back and look, what are we doing that we shouldn't be? What are we not doing that we should be? You know what I'm talking about. All right. Heavy J says, some major had problem asking for help my whole life, and I barely come around to asking. How do I humble myself to ask for that help? So ego gets in the way, right? 100%. I just recently told the story. I'm pretty sure I told it here before. I just got back to the infantry after a long stint away. I taught at the Staff and Chill Academy for 3 years. And my first duty station as a first sergeant was a motor team maintenance company. So still out of the fighting forces, if you will. So about 4 years, right? I was out of combat related stuff for 4 years. When I got to 2.5 at the Army, getting all my gear issued, the first time I'm the new guy on the block. I get all this gear and I don't recognize all of it, right? And it's now an M4 instead of an M1, which would love the M4. But the sights and the laser and the broom handle and all this stuff that was supposed to be attached to my weapon. Of course, out of the Army, you get it individually. And I'm looking at it thinking, man, there's a whole line of Marines behind me. Everyone's getting their stuff out. We're getting ready to go to the field, do some URAH. And the armor says, read me your serial number for your rifle, please. Of course, I know where that is. And boom, 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 read it to him. URAH. And he says, all right, Peg 2, give me the serial number off the Peg 2. I didn't know which one was a Peg 2. I was at that moment, man, I'm the first sergeant. I know everything. I'm URAH, king of the hill. How do I get past this without looking like a fool? Put my pride aside, put my ego aside, and said, give me a minute, devil dog. Hey, come here, POC. Show me which one is the Peg 2 and where the serial number is. I don't know. And then there had to be a little bit of, oh my God, first sergeant doesn't even know what a Peg 2 is. But I think it helped all around. It helped my credibility, right? I didn't fake the funk and gave him the serial number off the RCO when it should have been the Peg 2. That would have been worse. So, and then I got them in the school circuit. Look, I want y'all to know I've been out of the, what word am I looking? Not fighting forces. I've been out of the game for 4 years, right? Y'all need to, this stuff wasn't in the inventory when I left it. It's new inventory for me. Teach me how to use it. And I'll be a rifleman for you. I got you. I think I built credibility, built respect between all of us. Probably made that PFC feel good. First sergeant's asking me how to do stuff. This is great. Didn't diminish anything. It didn't make me look weak or not confident. I think it worked out in the end. So ego. Was that Bryant? David Bryant asked that question. Put your ego aside. You can be wrong as a leader, and chances are you're going to be. What is a PEC 2? Good question, USMC vet. So there's lasers and sights. First thing I got, RCO is a sight, the PEC 2 is the laser, right? Great question. If you don't know, ask. Don't try to fake the funk. You're going to end up looking like a chump. So make sure you know, ask the question. You just need an update on new equipment. Probably something, Carl, I should have done prior to getting there. That probably would have helped out a little bit. But I think it was a win-win either way, all the way around. So your ego is huge as a leader. It's okay to be wrong. And the hardest part is to admit it, right? Don't point the fingers at anyone else. Accountability, we talk about on this show quite often because it's non-existent right now in a lot of organizations. You do something wrong or you do something incorrectly, not maliciously, it just happens. You made a bad decision. Be man enough or woman enough to admit it. You know, I thought this was work. I apologize for not getting your input. It looked good on paper to me. It sounded good. I thought it would turn out like this. I made a bad decision. Let's fix this. Let's fix this. Now, I'm going to fix it. Let's do this. Take I out of your vocabulary. Take me out of your vocabulary. We can accomplish this mission. A fool says he knows everything. A wise man says he learns something new every day. Love it. Absolutely. Never stop learning. Never stop learning. Doc Holiday, happiest of days to Mrs. Doc. Hope she has a great year. It's her birthday. Is it Mrs. Doc's birthday? Is that what I miss? She's not listening to me over there. If it is, Doc, please tell her happy birthday, whatever today is. I'll look for it this time, but awesome. I know James Smith. We don't do a whole lot of politics here. He said some random country. It's not for the war. I just know that the new president is trying to end that war, and I hope he does. Senseless. Hey, Jay, thanks, Sergeant Major. Very influential. I done a few things wrong at work, as we all have, and I missed the rest of that comment, but that's the hardest part. Here's another hard thing to say, and you can ask the producer on this one. I'm sorry. How tough is that? Those two words to say when you make a mistake. Not excuses. Say, I'm sorry. I'll do better next time. That's tough for anyone. Say, I'm sorry. That's all. Sorry, it won't happen again. I'll do better. Right? Not I'll try. We don't say try around here. I will do better. There is no try. Around. What's your take on high-year tenure in the military? Someone again recently just asked about that. How far you can go at what rank? When do you hit service limitations? You can retire as a staff sergeant, E6. And I think there's a couple other retirement options now, and I don't know what they are, but E6 and O3, you can retire 20 years as a captain, if you're an officer, as a staff sergeant, if you're enlisted, 20 years. I got to believe, and I don't want to stereotype anyone, but there's some broken time in your career, maybe some trouble if you go 20 years and only obtain the rank of E6. Your MOS, and it could not be. You could be a good Marine, good soldier. It just may happen that way. The needs of the Corps always comes first. So it could possibly take that long, even with a good record. But you got to figure after 20 years, you hit that 20-year mark, should be an E8 or above, or even an O3 or O4 and above, major and above. But service limitations, staff sergeants, 20 years. They had that high year tenure, 15 years, right? At least an E6, and you get retirement, just not as much as full retirement. I don't know all the specifics on it, but there's options to it. Tony, I'm old school, and I remember more maturity in the staff NCO. You know, Tony, good point. And I tell you, I watch the news, or I watch militarynews.com. Sometimes I get on my phone, I check it out and see newly promoted first sergeant, the new first sergeant here at whatever unit. And I think, God, that guy looks young. Man, he's a kid. He's the first sergeant major. Oh my God, he looks young. So I don't know how old you are, Tony Leno, but I think that's and just something that happens. I look now at drill instructors. These guys are babies. These are making Marines. I'm not old enough to do that, but that was me. And when I was a drill instructor, I thought we were all clearly old enough and mature enough. So I don't know. Is there less maturity in the staff NCO ranks now? And I'm not around all the staff NCO ranks anymore to see it, but that's an interesting take on it. And that is for real my feeling on it. It seems like they're getting younger and younger and younger. But I think the fact is I'm getting older and older. So I don't know. Kids leading kids. What's up, Cave Diver? Kids leading kids. Think about it. Now, a young story, how about when corporals could be drill instructors? That was for when I went to boot camp, our new hat was a corporal in DI school. And I think that's what the rule was after a while. You can go to DI school as a corporal as long as that extra 100 points for graduating DI school went towards your cutting score and you got promoted to sergeant by the time you hit the drill field. That's what happened to him. He was our J. Sergeant Stewart. He was a beast. He was a kill hat. And at the time, he was the youngest drill instructor on the West Coast. Had braces, ugly, spit when he talked, stuttered. He was a beast. Sergeant, is it okay for Larissa to ask you a question? She's in JRTC at school. Absolutely. Who's ever writing for John McJunkin? Please. Yes. Bryce, what's happening, brother? I looked up, comment James Smith. Speaking for myself, much respect for the Royal Marines. No experience with the British Army, but I assume they are the best. I worked with the British Royal Marines, and they are beasts. In Bridgeport, we had a color sergeant. That was his rank. I think it's
Color sergeant. Remember that flag last time?
well, that was his rank in the British Royal Marines. He was an E8. He was a beast. He absolutely scared the bejesus out of me. I mean, you're American Marines. You're supposed to be tough. He wore us out on that mountain every single day. He was the first one up, dressed, ready to go. I thought I was a morning person. He was a morning person, and it was annoying. He was up, ready, already yelling at us, kicking our tents, right? We come out to try and melt some water to have some coffee for the morning. He'd be kicking snow all over us. He was a beast. Taught us a lot. Huge respect for those guys. And what we did, we were a select group that did the Mountain Leaders course, summer and winter. Every British Royal Marine does that daily basis. Awesome. They were. David Bryan, us old timers have corporal DIs. Imagine that. A corporal making Marines. We had a corporal in our DI school class. I forgot his name, though. Same. So I didn't in my DI class, but my drill instructor was. There was a corporal in our series, but that was in 77. Frank J. Hello, SFMF community. Thank you for giving me a free membership for my earlier support. That was from someone in the community, Frank, someone who gifted those. We don't choose who they give to. So thank you to our generous donors who provide those. I stopped by earlier streams when the algorithm sent me because I was watching Marine Corps content. Well, welcome aboard, Frank. Hang out, brother. Check us out. It's a great community. Love these guys. My buddy Jake served with the British Marines Exchange Program and attended all the same commando courses. Beast mode, USMC vet. Tell me he didn't tell you some stories. We're like, good God, these guys do it on a daily basis. They are truly hardcore. John McJunkin, any and all questions from the McJunkin crew, always welcome. Ask away. 100%. Ask away. I was working with my daughter's JRTC program, right? You all know that our two daughters are in an Army JRTC program. We don't hold it against them. And they're kicking butt. They just did extremely well recently in a drill competition. And now they're moving on. That's how good they're doing. They're getting ready for a Raider competition, which is a rope bridge and tire flipping, just a whole bunch of motivation. And they're going to do well. We're doing well. But just working with them reminds me of, because we can easily say, man, this younger generation, they're younger, they're not as hard, they're not as motivated, this is a smart generation, not a hardcore generation. These guys are hardcore just like we were when we were teenagers. So they are still there. 100%. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it mixed up. There are the same individuals that all of you, when you were that age, they're young teenagers, but they're motivated on their own time working. They're going to do it this weekend on their own time to get better, stronger, faster, 1% better every day as a team. And it's just a good reminder. Faith in humanity is restored when you're around those types of kids. I used to tell when working with the youngsters, all right, let's do a PFT. First event is pull-ups. You always get that question, oh, how many do I have to do? Wrong answer. The question should be, what's the record? Because I want to beat it. What's the max I can do? What's the most points I can do? You get in that mindset of everything you're doing. All right, we're going to run 3 miles. What's the fastest anyone's ever run? I'm going to try and beat it. It's just a mindset. Are you going to beat it every time? No. But if your mindset is to go for that record, positive outcome 100% of the time. Carl Green, amen, brother. Thank you very much for the cause. And this is a great cause. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks, Heavy J. Carl, awesome. Carl Green is the GOAT. Look at Salty. What's up, Salty? Well, excuse me. Thanks, boss. Wait a minute. I'm the boss around here. She's called you the boss, Carl. She said, you outrank me in age. She said it, not me. I'm looking at you know. I would like to let you know that I feel motivated. Jake Austin, you motivate me just by your icon, Texas flag, great state of Texas, your name. How can you not be motivated? Jake Austin from Texas. That's motivation by itself. We're going to be talking about the Royal Marines again. Just reminded of a story again, on top of, what was that mountain? What do you go to in Bridgeport? Somebody help me out. Where did we go to do the cold weather? Boy, the whole thing was cold weather, but where we did all the downhill skiing. We did crevasse work as well. And crevasse, those of you that don't know, the mountain has hundreds of feet of snow on top of it. In the summer, the mountain starts to heat up and it melts from the bottom. And when it gets to a certain point, it slides. The whole embankment will slide. Sometimes it'll just break apart halfway through the mountain. And the opening is the crevasse. And then another snow comes and it blows over that gap. And the gap can be 2 feet, 1 feet, could be 20 feet or bigger. It's just however far that bottom half slides away. And that's the crevasse all the way down to the face of the mountain. So you have to learn how to cross those when you see them. Problem is you don't always see them because the new snow comes again and covers it up. Looks like it makes a type of bridge, but it's snow, so it's not very strong. No, the mountain. It's in Bridgeport. We had to drive to it. It wasn't in Bridgeport. It was a ski resort as well. Yeah, I'll think of it in a minute. But I don't know, 14,000 feet. It was way up there. Took a couple days to climb up it, camped out, and then on the way down is when we did it. I don't know. I haven't been looking, but either way. So to practice that, while you're traversing across the mountain up and down it, you are tied to another individual. You have snowshoes on if it's that bad. If you have cross-country skis, depend on the mission, the weather, the time, everything. So for this practice, we had snowshoes on, I believe. Yeah, because sometimes you'll just be walking, think it's good, and just fall straight down. So the person you're tied to with a harness and a rope, and you're prepared, and you have pickaxes and stuff to stop you. Because if all of a sudden you feel someone falling, you know that he fell into a crevasse, or you see your buddy, he fell into a crevasse. You got to anchor right away. Boom, anchor, and then work a pulley system to pull him out. And we're doing this crevasse training. At this time, my partner was a motivated lieutenant, but I did outweigh him at least by 50, 60 pounds. So I was a little nervous. I was not nervous about pulling him out of a crevasse. I was worried about him pulling me out of a crevasse. Because not only did I outweigh him just body weight, but all of our gear. So you're weighing more than you normally do. Anyhow, since it was training, we found a crevasse And the color sergeant, Bickett is his name. He's like, all right, I need a volunteer, Cece. Perfect. Didn't even have to raise my hand. He said, jump into the crevasse. Excuse me? He said, jump into the crevasse. You'll be the first one to demonstrate the crevasse rescue. Wasn't too excited about that. So I started to kind of ease up and look down, and I couldn't see the bottom. I had no idea how far. I don't think anyone had any idea how far it was down. We could guess. I'm thinking at least 80 feet to 100. I don't know. So I'm edging up, just still looking at him if he's serious. I'm still hoping he's playing a joke on me. He said, jump in, mate. Jump in. You're supposed to be tough and Marine. Jump in, mate. Jump in. And again, I got on my butt and I was scooting to the edge. Oh, we didn't have snowshoes. We had the crampons, right? The thing you put on the end of your boots like claws on our boots. Because next thing I know, I feel a kick in the back of his crampons helped me into the crevasse. It was wide enough I didn't hit the other side. I was worried about that. So immediately put my hands out, thought I was going to hit the other side. I didn't. And it was wide. It was a wide crevasse, and I kind of finally caught, and my partner was back there he was sliding with me because I outweighed him, and he was digging in the snow trying to stop me. He did stop me. But now comes the time for him to pull you out. And again, I'm at least 50 feet down. And there's a one pulley system, and if you know, you have pulleys and you wrap the rope around. So a full 2-foot pull only turns out to be about a 1-foot pull. So it's going to take longer, right? It's the ease of, so weight really, it matters, but you can pull a lot of weight out because of the two pulley system. But that was too much for him. So I had to wait for him to set up a 4 pulley system. So it's even a lighter pull. Problem is, you don't go up that high on one pull. So it's not a full, again, 2-foot pull. So about 30 minutes into it, me on a harness, which cuts off all the circulation on your legs, couldn't feel my legs anymore, cold, in the bottom of a crevasse, looking up at them, the color sergeant says, oh yeah, part we didn't talk about is sometimes the crevasse will close, meaning the mountain's heating up again. The same way it opened up and slid down, it can heat up and slide down and close. Thank you very much. Now that's all I could think about is the crevasse closing on me and keeping me in there forever. He got wore out, my partner, on the 4 pulley. He made an 8 pulley system. So now you can pretty much do it with one hand, but now I'm going, instead of going up 6 inches at a time, I'm going about an inch at a time. It took forever. Long enough for them to finally, okay, you got the lesson of the crevasse training. Get him out of the crevasse before it closes. Thank you, Sergeant Bickett. All right, John McJunkin. Larissa asks, what are her opinion for joining the Marines if she cannot make the minimum height standard? She is a freshman at our school and is listed at 4'6". So first and foremost, as we like to say on the show, there is a waiver for everything. Can you look up what the shortest Marine was?
I think 4'6", but she's a female freshman. She should still be growing.
Yeah, female freshman, you may still be growing.
My freshman best friend.
Yeah. So you're a freshman, so 14, 15, hopefully you're still growing if you want to grow. And then at the end of the day, there is a waiver for everything. We had a story about a Marine. I think he was 4'6". I think he was exactly 4'6", graduated, showed him with his platoon. Everyone was way above him, but he did it. Same pack, same rifle, same hikes, same run, same PFT, everything. So at 4'6", I don't even know what the minimum height is, but there is a minimum height and a maximum height. But there's a waiver for everything. So go for it. Continue to work out. Continue to get ready. do everything you need to do and start talking to recruiters, MEP station, and find out how to submit a waiver if by chance you don't grow anymore. So go for it. That's my opinion. You can do it. Absolutely. Because you never know. What's up, Bob? Good to see you. 420 Network. If I was having any more fun, I'd have to be twins. I'd double the fun. Salty. Had a buddy in my first unit who was 4'2". There you go. And he was absolutely jacked little dude.
5'2".
Oh, 5'2". I was going to say, did you put him in your pack at 4'2"? 5'2". That makes more sense. Look up Camp Flattery from the Army. Was he short? Flaherty? Not real fun trying to negotiate obstacles at 4'6", but it will be worth it. You will be better. Great point, Randall, and that's the attitude right there. Is it going to be harder for you? Probably. There's only one obstacle course. Actually, there's two. There is one for females, which is a little shorter.
It says 410 is the minimum.
410. The producer just looked it up, says 410 is the minimum. So will you grow 4 inches by your senior year? Maybe not. But there's waivers. There's a waiver. Don't take no for an answer. Hope that helps. Go for it. Remember that short green beret dude who deadly was killed in a hit and run? I don't know if I know that story. 4 feet 7 inches. Flattery was 4'9". All right. And your average man, 5'10". What's the average woman? I don't know. Average female. Average man is 5'10". 4'9".
Dude, in 2023 was 4'7".
4'7".
But he might be budgeted in 2 minutes.
Yeah, that Marine that graduated. That Marine that graduated. Huge story on him. Look, what's his name? Nathaniel LaPrada. 4'7". Big story on him for being that height and still graduating. And the pack, and that's what they of course showed him on a hike carrying that huge pack. But it's possible. So yeah, don't give up. Average woman is about 5'4". Are you guessing,
5'4".
Ashley? And I think looking at, I remember when I was creating my color guard, right, as my battalion color guard, that's what I put out there. Average man is 5'10". Obviously, you want some big 4'6" guys carrying the colors that look great, but average man is 5'2". I remember that's when I saw that. Amen, Cave Diver. Look at that one. Write that down. The answer is always no if you don't ask. That's great. Love that. Yeah. And that's facts. Find out. Don't go by what they say, what they told me. Too many times that gets passed down from generation to generation. You're not allowed to do that. I told you my ribbon story. Master Guns told me you can't wear 4 ribbons across until you have 16. That's what he told me. He wasn't lying. That's what he had been told his whole career. Master Guns, 30 years. He knows it all. He had grown up knowing that you go 3 across like everyone wears their ribbons until you hit 16, so you don't have a 3 all the way up in your shoulder. Then you go 4 across. So I'm sure that's what everyone told him growing up, and that's what he knew to be correct. I just happened to be teaching uniform regs at the time at the Staff NCO Academy, but like a good staff sergeant, I told him, yes, Master Gunner Sergeant, I will go fix it right now. But the order says may. It used the word like may. You may go, or you should. I don't remember the statement, but it's in the uniform regulations. Or like typically you would wait till you have 16 before you go 4 across. So it never said you cannot. So you never know unless you ask. And then research it. All right. Appreciate you, Heavy J. Still Lima Charlie. Lima Charlie. So we didn't talk about phonetic alphabet and acronyms. Tell me how many times you've been in a meeting and someone, not picking on officers, but they love their acronyms. And we all know the basics. I'm trying to think of any right now, but just your everyday lingo. And then all of a sudden, an acronym will come out like STAT. What does STAT? Everyone knows what that means. Like hurry up. But what does STAT stand for? STAT. They even read it. It's written. They write it. Bluff. Took me forever to learn what bluff meant. BLUF. Bottom line, up front. So there's common ones that we all use. But then you'll be in a briefing, they'll even have it up there, and the officers probably had already talking about it a few times, and it's known to that community. But be that guy. That's me. I see you have written bluff up there 32 times. Can you just tell the crowd what that means? I may have been the only one. That's why in writing, when you do write stuff, the first time you write it, the English rule, the first time you write it and you use the acronym, you spell it out first. And then in parentheses, put bluff. So every other time you use it, bluff, now everybody knows what you're talking about. That should happen in a briefing as well, right? Say the acronym first, or say the whole correct verbiage of that word first, and then start using the acronym. Just keep everybody on the same page. All right. What's your point, CJ? What's he talking about? All right. Okay. So right on by. So recruiting. That's what I want to talk about right now. Right now, recruiting is up again already. Remember, for the past 4 years, recruiting was down. So much so that 3 services, Army, Navy, and Air Force, wasn't meeting their recruiting goals. Right, the Marines did. I got to believe the Marines like maybe barely did, but the Marines never not hit their goal. The Marines, we hit our goal every single time. It's because our commercials, you know that. All right, and our mission, and the blue dress uniform, right? And everything we do as Marines. Well, why is it up? That's Pete Hegseth, new Secretary of Defense. Does that have something to do with it? Why all of a sudden is recruiting strong again? Again, more faith in humanity. Just talking about working with these young teenagers getting ready to replace all of us and all the active duty right now. It's up again, and it's pretty comforting knowing that it is. Policy changes hasn't been a whole lot yet, but do we need, just like before for Desert Storm, what I can remember, we boosted all the branches of service. Everyone boosted so high to go into Desert Storm and during Desert Storm. But then soon as it was over, they started cutting people. So that's a dangerous time as well. All right, John McJunkins, crew, has another question. A delayed enlistee named Alan was wanting to know if you were ever scared of chopper crashing or a Hummer blowing up with you in them. Every single time, 100%, always on my mind, and I think everybody in them. If as much as I enjoyed riding in helicopters, that was always in the front of my mind. And you do a helicopter crash training, the helo dunker, if you will, so you know what to do. But it was always in the front of my mind. I was a helo company for a while in 2.5, so everywhere we traveled was in helicopters. If I don't fly in another one, it won't be too soon, because we had some hard landings, some close calls. A huge one I remember that I'll never forget, and we were, maybe it was on the Mew. I think it was on the Mew. We were flying ship to ship, loaded up, middle of the night, and we had been flying so long. And you can ask the producer, I can sleep anywhere. As loud as the helicopter was, and banking, and Marines were getting sick, and we were doing maneuvers, ship to ship, and landing on a ship is no fun anyway. We hit this ship deck, so hard one time, I knew there was no doubt in my mind that we had crashed because I had fallen asleep. But we hit so hard, it woke me up. And the ship was at such an angle when we landed on it. Boom. All I saw was water. That's how tilted the ship was. So I was just waiting. I held my breath and every big gulp of breath. I was ready to start looking for that exit and doing all the things that the training had us. So as much as I, yes, did think about it, I did feel pretty secure. And I'm one of those guys that trusts maybe a little too much, but the pilot knows what he's doing, or he wouldn't be a pilot, right? Goes back to that whole DEI thing. I want the best trained pilot, right? The crew chief, I know he's going to know what to do if we go down. So how do you overcome that fear? I will focus on the mission, what we're going to do when we get there, right? Same thing, riding thousands of miles of patrols in vehicles as well, into ditches, right? In the canals inside Afghanistan, there's canals everywhere. Have driven into a couple of those accidents at night, banging into another vehicle. All those things are, as long as you keep them on the front of your mind and remain calm, just like they tell you, like you get pulled out to sea or something. You can't freak out. You can't stress out. You have to just remain calm and rely on your training, right? They do the vehicle dunker also. So you build confidence in yourself to know if we get blown up, right, the first thing you do is check everyone around you, see if it's still on fire, whatever the case may be, but resort to your training, right? They're going to train you before they send you in that situation. Great question, though. And I would say, number one, remain calm. And you never know how you're going to react when that happens. That's what I ask myself, and I talk to when people ask me, you ever shoot you ever kill anybody? And the weird questions like that. You never know how you're going to react until it happens, right? And they told that story, seen the toughest, strongest men in training get scared in combat, and vice versa. Someone you don't think will be able to stand up and cover your flank and fire maneuver, and destroy the enemy by fire in close combat. You don't think they can, but they can. Right? You never know what happens till you get rounds whizzing by your head, or hitting the glass of the Humvee that you're riding in. Boom, 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 right in front of you. Could have been you. So rely on your training, confidence in bearing on the battlefield, just like confidence in bearing speaking in front of a crowd. Confidence in bearing will get you through. All right. Rope insert by Hilo at night. So being a helicopter company, we did some fast ropes. Fast rope, for those you don't know, is big fat rope. Comes out of the hole of the helicopter, the little hole in the belly of it. That baby opens up, and you start like a fireman pole, but it's a rope, just sliding down. At night, you can't see how close the ground is. You just got to be ready to land. As soon as you land, you got to get out of the way because another Marine's coming right down after you. That's pretty intense. Pretty intense. We did have an accident one time. The helo hit an air pocket where boom, sliding down, boom. The helo did a little dip, but the dip down was further than the dip up. So he went up a little bit, but went down a whole lot further. So the Marine closest to the ground, still on the rope, went up with the helicopter and boom, down. Hurt himself. He's a 60 gunner, had all kinds of weight on him, luckily landed on his back, but he did break his back. But it could have been worse. Very, very training. You never know what can happen in training, but you got to train for it, right? And everyone knew what to do in that specific case. Right, the next guy down, just became his combat aide. Right, rolled him out of the drop zone because you can't see it. Nobody knew that happened because it was at night when he's still coming down. Boom, 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 hitting the deck. Interesting. Thanks for your service, Mr. Clean. Thank you. Appreciate that. Absolutely. Death from within. The cook. I told you, can't stress this enough. There's friends you make when you go to combat. Cooks, supply, motor T, the entire air wing. Right? You don't want them to drop you off in the wrong location. More importantly, you want them to pick you up at the right location at the right time. So there's people you make your battle buddies forever. All those guys. Supply gets a new year. Cooks every day. You want some good chow. You never know who you're going to need, when you're going to need them, and vice versa. I remember, I don't know how many times we escorted those specific units right there. Anytime they asked for an escort for the cooks to go out to a patrol base, for a supply to go out to a patrol base, the little PX mini truck, that was a sight for sore eyes when you haven't seen anybody in anything except bad guys in weeks or months. Right? See that chow truck rolling up. And it's the infantry most of the times who escort them, but anyone on base, they go and escort them out. Adam East, what's up, guns? I think it's peacetime now, looking for fat bodies or just a culture change. We're first to do it.
The Pentagon's going to service uniform instead of utility uniforms after daylight savings.
Who is? The Pentagon's going to what? Utilities?
They're in utilities now. They were on Fridays.
Uh,
But they're going into.
Pentagon's going into service uniforms. So the Pentagon has been in camis?
Monday through Thursday. He said Friday is the only day they wear.
So Fridays they wear, it's winter, so they're, what were you wearing? Bravos, I'm guessing? And now they're going to Charlies? Pentagon. I thought the Pentagon wore Charlies or Bravos every day.
So 2 years ago they changed it.
Wow, they wear camis in the Pentagon. I would have never ever guessed.
All the branches do.
All the branches wear camis at the Pentagon.
The Marine Corps leadership in the Pentagon decided to swap from wearing fancy service uniforms to camis 2 years ago before deciding recently to reverse course.
In an environment like that, I know camis are a whole lot more comfortable, but I think cami, that's your fighting uniform. That belongs in the field. So I'm with I make some enemies here, but I think they should be in the winter in Bravos and the summer Charlies, without a doubt. And I guess if it gets cold enough, service Alphas. I've never worked there, but drill instructors wear Charlies every single day except in the field where camis belong. Well, that's interesting. I didn't even know that. Doc Holiday, God bless you, brother. Thank you again. Big orange dot up on the screen. Thank you, brother. God bless. That's awesome. Interesting about the Pentagon. Again, I would have never guessed. Just like Quantico. Don't tell me they wear camis every day. I know that those same people we talked about, all the support personnel probably do. But if you're in the big office spaces with the generals and the sergeants major, it should all be Charlies, professional. Drone instructors, I say that, drone instructors every day. Amen and thank you, Doc. Wow. Pajamas, that's what camis are. Tell me, when the camis first came out, the new digital MARPAT, another acronym, MARPAT, Marine Pattern. So if you're talking about the MARPAT uniform, spell it out that first time so everybody knows. Marine Pattern Camouflage Utility Uniform. They call them summer and winter, summer and desert, or just MARPAT means green. Desert MARPAT obviously is the khaki or a tan. And for some reason, tell me if I'm wrong, the desert are more comfortable than the green. Is that a fact, or is it just me? The deserts truly do feel like pajamas. They're so comfortable. And no more starch. You're not trying to walk through the heavy starch from Mama San. right? The boots, you don't have to worry about cracking the spit shine that you just did, and you're not walking, don't want to touch your boots on anything. Love the change in the uniform, which is a little, that's what I'm looking for, because I also loved the spit shine and the heavily starched camis. That's what I would in Okinawa. Heavy starch, mom, son, heavy, extra heavy. I remember putting them camis on for the first time when you got them back from mama, son. You had to break the starch. You had to put your foot in your trouser leg just to get the starch apart. And you want to sit down. You didn't want to bend down. It did. It made you look sharp, act sharp, right? You don't want to bend your arms too much when the sleeves are down because you don't want to wrinkle the starch. Spit shine boots, you spend all night spit shining them. Or if you're like me, you had Papas on, did the boots. But you don't want to kick anything. You watched where you walked, right? You walked smarter. You didn't drag your feet. It made you act a little more squared away. The new camis now, you don't have to iron them, right? That crease never goes away. The suede boots, you brush them off, right? But you don't have to polish them. They're a lot more comfortable and a lot more, makes a lot more sense. It was a great change in the Marine Corps uniform today. And that's why it hasn't changed for 20 years. It's been that same one, right? About 20 years. At least I know we researched it for about 10 years. I was a young Marine. I think in Hawaii the first time is when we were, shoot, that was a long time ago. And we were just testing it out. We did a one field deployment, testing the uniform. They gave one platoon, desert camis, Marpet uniform, and the desert boots. And it was just to test it, see what kind of adjustments, does this work, does this not work? I remember the biggest one, they used to have straight pockets, right? The pockets used to be straight on some of the test models, and it's harder to get into a straight pocket, so that's why they're angled now. It's easier to get in and out of. These are Velcro, these are button, right? You don't get in and out of these as much. It's better to keep them secured. You use these more. So a lot of great feedback by guess who? The ones who are actually using them, right? So instead of that think tank in a box, planning in a box like we see today way too much, I think this will be great for the Marines to wear, and they can fight and do everything in this uniform without giving it to them. The smartest thing the Marine Corps has ever done. Well, there's plenty, but leadership, that was leadership 101. This is going to change the way we do everything. Before we make this decision and spend billions of dollars on it, let's hear it from the privates and PFCs on the ground. Give it to them, let them test it. What a crazy concept. Let's find out from who it's going to directly affect. Let's hear from them before we make a decision. Now, if we can just get everyone to do that before they make these weird decisions, they get in that leadership billet, and this is what I think works. Let's do it. It doesn't always work that way. Get feedback, get input after action reports. AARs, another acronym. Turn in your AARs, after action report. And use that knowledge for all the right reasons. It's going to make you a better leader. Don't change something until you've tested it. I got to think that's common sense. Let's bring common sense back. What was that last one comment we had? Let's make tough cool again. It's time for that. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Another John McJunkin. Darnell is thinking about joining the Marines or the Army. He's asking how well do they really feed and resupply combat troops in a war? Great question, Darnell. First of all, if we're friends, friends don't let friends join the Army. I got you. Just kidding, soldiers. So how well do they feed and resupply you in combat troops in a war? Of all my deployments, field training, combat deployments, as many times I've been away from the flagpole, if you will, never once went hungry. One time in Desert Storm, I was just telling my kids about this. we as a closer we got to Iraq, we were getting lighter as we went, meaning we were dropping gear, excessive gear, trailers with extra gear on there. A few months later, we're traveling on foot, no vehicles. Vehicles were behind us, and if and when we needed them, they came up. But we were traveling light, no more cots, no more tents. We're getting some. And at one point, we had run out of MREs. Right around the same time, we were close to, I don't remember the names, and they might be top secret, but we came to a city, if you will, in the middle of the desert, which was a bunch of warehouses. And of course, we check them, secure them, make sure there's no enemy in there, do our due diligence on those buildings. There was blown up vehicles all around. Air power, American air power is amazing. So it was safe. Went into these buildings and there was chow in there. It was some kind of supply warehouse. Had thousands of cases of spam. Yes, spam. Best meat in the world, in my opinion. It's the poor man's meat, but I'll love it. I'll take spam and eggs over a steak any day.
You are crazy.
Spam is.
I'll argue with you right now.
Anybody hear that over there? Spam and eggs. Problem was we didn't have any way to cook it, so spam straight out of a can, not good. Edible, but not as good. Luckily, we found cases of fruit cocktail. Remember, fruit cocktail came in a gigantic can. We figured it out. It took us not long, but we figured it out. Cut the lid off. Made the lid was our frying pan. Built a little fire. We were engineers, so we had a bunch of aluminum stakes that we put in the ground to mark lanes and mark lines, mark mines. So we created a long frying pan with the top of the fruit cocktail cup, the stick, a little fire underneath, sliced up the spam and cooked it. Little Debbie cakes too. So we had it all. Right? Spam, fruit cocktail, and little Debbie cakes. We're in heaven. Something different than MREs for a while. So to answer the question, I don't think there'll ever be, again, unless you're in some kind of emergency situation in combat, direct combat action for more than a day or two, which happens, you will always be resupplied. Never once in my life as a Marine did I think I wasn't going to be fed. Fresh water, maybe, right? It might be take some time to get some fresh water, but never a concern of mine. So I think you're good, especially nowadays with today's technology. They can airdrop you anything, so not something you need to worry about. Look at old Jyrene. I used to strap my MRE pouch to a Humvee tailpipe to heat it up. Yes, Motor T's got it made in the field in the cold. Heat up them MREs on some part of the engine. I see Motor T off to the side. They got the hood up. There's nothing wrong with the vehicle. They're warming up some MREs to eat. Always. Just thinking ahead. Is that Kimmy Kimmy Cocoa Puffs? Number one is here. What's up, number one? Funny, Moport, does DoorDash deliver to your battle sites? Does DoorDash? No, but you know who does? The Roach Coach. When you're in the field training, not in combat, Roach Coach will show up. I do remember a time, I think I've told this story before, in Korea, in the middle of nowhere, freezing our butts off. A little Korean guy on a little bike, ding, 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 ding. He rolled up and had some fresh fruit. So, as funny as that may have been of a question, they'll get food to you. Someone, someone, anything to make a dollar. Yes, always plenty of deer that need to fill your fridge. And when in doubt, that's all the Bridgeport. That's what all that training is about: how to snare, capture. Rabbits is a big one up there. Fish, right? There's creeks nearby. They all part of your training. Learn how to trap and snare, I think they call it. So you're not going to go hungry. Jalapeno cheese is the best. UMC. jalapeno cheese,
Jalapeno.
jalapeno cheese. The cheese in MREs is good to start with. The jalapeno cheese now, that's even better. Some great trading value right there. Pizza truck at Horno is pretty good, right? I'm telling you, the roach coaches make it out there. They don't look like they're four-wheel drive, but they'll get to you out in the field. So I think I talked about this recently. Always bring cash to the field. Always. Write that down. Those you active duty, those you getting ready to go in, always bring cash to the field. Don't be that one guy. I'll be gear guard. I'll watch other gear where you guys hit the roach coach and get the delicious breakfast sandwiches and nice hot coffee. I don't want any because you didn't bring cash. Bring cash to the field. Rabbits at Bridgeport. First thing they learned us. First thing they taught us, cave diver, how to snare, kill, skin, cook rabbit. Absolutely. San Mateo hot pizza, roach coats. I'm telling you. Never be a cheap Marine. Amen. Bob. Yep. Hook your brother up. Don't let him go hungry in the field. Look at Salty. Roach coats accepts cards now. I should have known. I shouldn't even have second guess that. Probably accept Cash App. So as long as you have your phone in the field, which the Marines bring their phone out there, bring some way to purchase that food because there's going to be food out there. Right there. There's Lake Cookie. Jungle environment survival training teaches you that you can eat just about anything and everything in the field. In the wilderness, what happened before the cavemen? Right? They didn't have no Uber Eats. So yes, jungle survival training. I also did a couple deployments to the Kingdom of Tonga. And those guys, they don't have MREs. Third world country, the Tongan Marines live off the land. Everything they had no supplemental food delivered to them. Everything they did was off the land. So when we trained with them, of course, we shared our MREs, but they showed us how to, just like Lake Cookie said, live off the land. We didn't have anything. Fish was the biggest one. Fish was interesting the way they cooked their fish, but they were born into that. They catch a fish, wrap the whole thing up in a banana leaf, throw it in the fire. They don't gut it, they don't skin it, they don't scale it, any of that stuff. And then when they pull it out of the fire, they do cut it open and slide all the innards out. They don't eat that part of it, but then they eat the whole thing. Nuts and berries and bark and everything and anything you can imagine. They find a way to prepare it so you can't eat it. Look at old Jyrene. My wife used to pick me up in the middle of the night at Lejeune when we were in the field. Slip out of the bivouac, get a shower, chow, back my son up. Never got caught. Old Jyrene. So it was you that started it because I may have done that once or twice. Right? And there's a culprit sitting right over there. One time she came out to the field, brought us and my team Burger King. Not a huge fan of Burger King, but tell me that's not the best chow when you're in the field.
Chicken just popped up.
Chicken is here. Semper Fi My Chicken. Where you been? You're risen. Good to see you. You've been PTing. That's where you've been. You've been UA. So you definitely owe some burpees. What foreign people would give for an American MRE? I'm with you, Randall. Yeah, we are a little spoiled with our MREs. At the same time, I've had French MREs, Italian MREs. I don't know what other countries. They have pretty good ones too, and I think the enticing part of it is that it's different, right? So we of course exchange the Italians, French. I know they get instead of cases of water, they get cases of wine. Right, a couple good stories with that. It is surprising what some humans will eat, Bob. To stay alive, you got to do what you got to do if it comes down to that. Double tap, everyone. Thanks, Jake. Double tap, double tap. See where we're at. Chicken has been running black ops in North Korea. Don't talk about it. Don't tell us. We'll see it on the news later. Nice work, Chicken. You made it back. It was the same with CRATs. I missed the CRAT time. David, Bryant, Randall, those of you that had CRATs, old Jyrene. Jared, where's Jared? You know, he's old. He had CRATs. Still to this day, I haven't tried any. I would love to, again, just to for the experience of it. I do remember in the field early on in my career going to the field seeing CRAT trash. Supposed to take that stuff out with you, but it's hard. There's a beautiful thing about MREs too. It's all paper or plastic trash. You can roll it up, put it in your pocket, dispose of it properly when you can. But I remember being in the field seeing a lot of empty CRAT cans. Mount Survivor School, I was pulling wild onions out of the ground to eat. Hungry like a mo. Yes, done that too. Walking through fields. Was this Afghanistan or Iraq? We ended up in a cornfield. And we're hungry. It was something other than an MRE. So we're pulling stalks pulling corn off the corn stalks, peeling them and eating them. Then we seen the farmer come out, and he looked pretty upset. We couldn't actually communicate with him well, but what he's coming to tell us was, because it was hard, it was terrible, it wasn't good. We were eating it because that's what Marines do. And he finally told us that stop eating it because that's feed corn. I didn't know there was a difference. That was corn raised, grown, whatever, just for the animals. So it wasn't as good. Edible, but not as good. So learned something new that day, and it wasn't good at all. Pound cake, cash in the field. Pound cake was amazing. Traded food for alcohol. Randall Knapp. That's what we did too. I'm telling you, the French and the Italians I remember the most. That was in Somalia. Traded it with them. JW says, did we ever figure out how to become a member? It's still you go to the description. Yep, go to the description, JW. The description of the channel, there's a tab called Join. There it is. Yes, JW, thanks for asking. In fact, do it real quick so we can watch your name turn from white to green. We'll see. See if that works just like that, JW, and let us know. Richard Bridges, we found crates of Vienna sausages, cooked ham, ate them with crackers and cheese from Moe's Gourmet Chow. How about you got the CRE nearby, producer?
Sorry?
The CRE, you have that nearby anywhere?
What is it?
Crayons ready to eat, the CRE? There goes that acronym thing again. See how that worked right there? And she asked, what is that? The CRE is a crayon ready to eat. It's I don't know if it's in the new MREs yet, but it definitely should be. Right? That's what all the other branches like to ask. Right? That's their dig on Marines. What kind of crayons you eat? Change mine from green to red. Blood. John McJunkin. Robbie asked, who is enlisting in the Marines after he graduates in May this year? What? Oh, Robbie, comma, who is enlisting in the Marines after graduating in May this year, asked if a drill instructor can deny a recruit the chance to hydrate or eat as a punishment. Great question. I don't know if I want to dime out the drill instructors like that, but no, and they won't. They may make you wait. They may maybe thrashing you, send you on some tasks, but they cannot deny food, hydration, head calls, going to the bathroom. They're not going to medical assistance, religious activities. They're not going to deny you anything, any of those things. Again, the purpose of boot camp is to make you a basically trained Marine. So everything they do, although it seems pretty evil at times, it's all for a reason. They want to make you a Marine. They break you down, but they don't want to break you. right? They're just breaking you down, wiping you of all your nasty civilian habits that you've learned. Civilians, please don't get offended. It's a drill instructor thing. But they break you down and build you up. So no, they don't want to hurt you. They don't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to, right? And the biggest one is a lot of times what happens is recruits get injured, but they don't tell the drill instructor because they don't want to go to medical. They don't want to get dropped to another platoon or have to spend any more time on the depot as you have to. But that becomes dangerous also. Usually with something small, just a blister, you don't get it taken care of because you don't want to seem weak and tell anybody and whine about it. You want to suck it up and be tough, but then that blister gets infected. Now you got what's that? Where it gets infected. What's the name of that? That happens when your blisters get infected. Achilles heel, right? Because that's your feet are going to be tore up. So those you McJunkin, tell your crew right now, learn how to walk and run in boots. I'm get a set of boots. You can buy nearly Marine Corps boots that are just the same, but just get used to that. Lower extremity injuries are the biggest medical issue in boot camp because you're not used to walking that much, not used to running that much. You're not used to doing all that, let alone in tennis shoes, in boots. So when you get a blister, get it taken care of. And they check you every night, but you can get that one that you, oh, it's fine, it's fine. Nope. Get it looked at. Make sure you remain healthy. Anything wrong, you can't do nothing if something happens to your feet, right? That's what jungle, rotten foot, athlete's foot, all this stuff you hear about all the time. And change your socks. We joke with the corpsman. You tell corpsman, Doc, I got a bad back. He'll say, change your socks. Take some motion. Change your socks. Don't be lazy on a hike. When you make that 2 mile stop or that 10 mile stop, all right, break. We got 10 minutes. Change your socks. First thing you do is change your socks. And then everything else you got to do. Take care of your feet. But no, to answer your question, they're not going to deny you any of that. May you miss a meal again because of training or late or something goes on, maybe. But they're not gonna starve you or dehydrate you. And hydration, that's on you. They might tell you to put that water bowl down, or I think they have Camelbacks now, but you'll have time to continue to hydrate. Always. Hydration is continuous. Drink that water. All right. C1 says, isn't being huge a massive disadvantage out in the field? I don't think so. I'm a little bit bigger than your average, but I don't think it's a disadvantage at all. Your fighting hole has to be a little bigger. If you're 6'2", your fighting hole has to be deeper. So maybe a little bit in a case like that. But if you're jumping over canals, being big is going to help. Being stronger, obviously going to help. If you're shorter, you might get wet jumping the same canal as Big O. He's not here tonight, but he's 6'6" or something. He can walk over a canal that I have to run and jump. Being bigger as in you eat more, maybe because you got to carry more food because you eat more, but no disadvantage. You're ready, you're trained, and the Marine Corps will get you ready for that. Definitely, old Gyrene, no jelly donuts. Unless you're Private Pile, no jelly donuts. Do life straws really work for filtering water? I've never used a life straw. I'm not sure what it is. It's probably some kind of another contraption that probably does filter it enough to make it healthy or not unhealthy. But we have even what are the tabs called that that they would give us before going to the field that you put in murky water. The thickness of the murk depends on how many tabs you put in there. I can't remember what they're called. Put them in there, shake it up, and watch it, and it can make it so you can hydrate. It's not going to taste good, but it will. Iodine tabs. Thank you, chicken. Put some iodine tabs in some water, murky water, shake it up, and wait a certain amount of time. Then you can drink it. I have a feeling those straws and those field filtration devices. I would bet they all would. They would make it safer than instead of drinking it straight out of the creek or pond or puddle that you found. So I would use it, all that before I drank straight out of the, wherever you got it from. Iodine. Thanks, everybody. Had iodine tabs. Never used it. Never had to. Never needed to. I don't drink a whole lot of water, but I've never been in a situation where it was that dire that we had to use iodine tablets. I'm probably thinking that's a good thing. They say it doesn't taste good, but it's healthy. Cave diver, we still love you, even though you're Army. Oh, Brita straws, experimental Brita straws. Again, I'm guessing those work. J-Job says, make sure you blow out the life straw after you use it to get all that junk out of there, I'm guessing. Whatever it filtered, make sure you clean it. Ron, good evening, Marines and others from Bob. A picture for you, being shot at from all sides, only covers through a small opening. Then what? Happens all the time. South. What do you do in a situation? Let me picture it for you. Being shot from all sides, only cover is through a small opening. Then what? Shoot back. All right, just like Chesty says. Chesty said, "Oh, we're surrounded, sir. What do we do now?" He said, "Great. Now we can shoot in all directions." All right. That happens. One of the first little skirmishers in Iraq, we're at a four-way intersection. Any two fivers on there is called the lollipop. It was nicknamed that because there was a post right in the middle, and they're dirt roads and they're dirt buildings and shops, and it was the meat market. And there literally was like a probably a stop sign or a yield sign. It was a big round sign that had been so old and battered we couldn't see if there's anything on it, but it was on a pole in the center of the four-way intersection called the lollipop. It was a reference point for us anytime we went on patrols, and we would patrol through there frequently because it was a market. And when the market was clear, something bad was about to happen. But the market's full of people because they know what's going on before anybody, before our intelligence knows. You can gauge that area by the amount of people in the streets. And we had rolled through there one time. It was with the awesome platoon. I was the first sergeant, but I traveled. Used to like traveling with this platoon. They knew how to find the fights. So of course we're rolling up to the lollipop, and there was not a soul to be found. There was no birds, there was no animals, nothing. Something was going to happen. So we had a 4-vehicle patrol, a vehicle on each street. Lollipop was behind us all. Sure enough, it was an ambush of sorts, not well coordinated. From one of the streets, started taking fire. We didn't know where it was coming from, and then the other street, and it took them a while to coordinate it. They didn't have the firepower we had. We had up guns on the Humvees and 240s. We had a 50 cal on one, and it wasn't much of a fight. But they tried that. Whatever you just asked them, they tried to surround us, and then where do you shoot from, or what do you do with not a clear target? We cleared the area, waited till the fire stopped, and then rolled out. Chicken says iodine leaves a weird taste, but it's better than getting E. coli. Again, probably doesn't taste well, but it's gonna save your life. Hydrate. I guess being big allows you to take more. Well, being big also means your boots are bigger, your camis are bigger, all your flak jacket, everything's bigger, so you're carrying more weight just by size alone. That's on you. Right? Some beasts at all levels, all heights. Shin splints, no good. David Bryant, you experienced that? Oh, all right. Man, that's all you had to say. All right. What? Yes. All right.
It's 3-5. We need 3-5 stories.
3-5 today. No, it's not 3-5 today. What is today? What's the date today? Is it 5? Can you help me out? It is a fifth? I'll take that as a yes. All right. And we missed 2-5. Did I do something on 2-5? There was a post today, 3-5. You saw the community post. 5th Marines. And even on 2-5, we did something on there. 3-5. We try to hit them on, and obviously the battalions I was with as a battalions I'm familiar with. We did a lot of work with 2-8, 2-6. We put some stuff up. 2-7, right? So all those are, we try to coordinate on the 11th of this month, 3/11, January, February, March 11th. All good opportunities, again, for those in those units to celebrate, right? 3-5 today. Dark Horses, that's what 3-5 was. Dark Horse. Um, and the 5th Marines is special to me, obviously. 2-5, the 5th Marine alumni group. I think I told y'all one time we were deployed, came back, got back in October. The ball was in November. No time to fundraise, do car washes, anything for that ball. The 5th Marine Regiment Alumni Association picked up the tab. So just because you leave those battalions doesn't mean you're done with them. That's part of your legacy, part of your career, part of your life, right? And 5th Marines definitely was one. So they definitely hold a place in my heart still forever. It was my first combat deployment as a first sergeant was with 5th Marines. So I love that, the whole community. The 1st Marine Division Association would always help us out as well. So if you're ever in those units and you meet someone from that unit, and that's, when you come across a Marine, older guys on here, and I like the older generation say, what outfit were you within? Were you with? And you mentioned some battalions and some regiments, and yeah, I was in 5th Marines. I was a 5th Marine outfit, and in the 60s, 70s, Vietnam. So definitely part of our legacy. You know how Marines are with our history and traditions, as are all the services, I'm sure. But Marines are fanatical about our legacy, customs, courtesies, history, and tradition. So it's awesome when you meet someone who's been in the same regiment, division, company, battalion. That's why we try to, and we'll probably continue to do it and do it more once those dates come up and discuss those specific units. So 3-5, anyone from 3-5 spend time with 3-5, Semper Fi to you. We didn't, so the 5th Marines in San Mateo camp, it was San Mateo, Horno. That was next to Horno. That's what 5th Marines was. The time we never, so here's something interesting. If you know, the battalions don't do anything together. Because here's what happens in the 5th Marines, let's say Camp Pendleton, typically 4 battalions in a regiment. One battalion is in the fight. One battalion is training for the fight. One battalion is on reset or just got back from the fight. And one battalion is in limbo doing training operations, doing all the stuff around. So all 4 are doing something different. San Mateo, yes, chicken. All 4 are doing something different. So although, and people say, hey, you were in 2-5, yeah, I was in 3-5, man, we're saying do the same things just at different times. So we didn't know, you don't know a whole lot of people in those other battalions typically until after you leave. And it happens just like that. You were 3-3, I was in 1-3. Remember we did it? No, I don't know what your battalion, we hear about it. Of course, a lot of times like in Afghanistan, 3-3, we replaced 1-3. 2 years in a row, 2 deployments in a row. So again, although we're in the same place, spilling the same blood and the same mud, we never did it together. So we don't know how each other trains. Going to Mojave Viper, I think they call it something different now, but going to those training evolutions, we again took over after 1-3, replacing, but different times. Same location, same mission, same fight, but different times. Pretty interesting. You don't think about it like that. You think of 1, 3, 2, 3, and 3. They're all the same. They do the same things. They all know each other. Typically, you don't until later on. So it's fun. It's fun to talk about it and share stories. Josiah Moreno, what's up? Matt Sarnt Moreno, good to see you. Those of you remember that the time we had Josiah on the show, the fight is going well. It is. Once again, another awesome crew, awesome discussion. I haven't seen everybody who's here, but it's looking pretty good. How are we looking on?
Jared's not here though. Old man Jared.
Old man Jared. He's probably getting his beauty rest. Right? He's sleeping. Jared. Mojave Viper. Holy yes, J-Dub. Did a lot of Mojave Vipers. A lot of time in that desert. Even Coast Guard did the same with ship rotations. There it is, the same. So although you're in the same home port, you don't do anything together. Right? It's pretty interesting. If I could get a new gold PT shirt with the Scarlet USMC on it, like we got in third phase, I would love it. Green with scarlets. Huh? So, yeah, interesting. Randall, I love it. Right? I loved that uniform, and it definitely was. Look, she got a gold shirt right here. So we might just have to recreate. We got one gold shirt. We might have to recreate the OG PT gear. And didn't we have tube socks too? Went all the way up to your knees with the red and gold, scarlet and gold stripes, big fat stripes. I don't know why. I have to look at my old yearbook from boot camp, but I love it, and that meant something. When you got that shirt with the USMC on it, tell me that didn't feel good. It was the silky shorts. Yes, they're a little is the right word for them. Not good PT shorts. So I love our new PT shorts. Right when we got rid of the silkies, but they could have kept the shirt, even the gray one with USMC or green one with UMCs. I don't know why in boot camp our shirts don't say USMC on it. Got a couple gold shirts. Might have to recreate that baby. Loved it. These seem a little more yellow than I remember in boot camp. PT gear, we have come a long ways. We haven't changed 100 times PT gear like the Army has, but we have changed, and I think it's all for functionality. Again, the Marines, we don't have a lot of money. So before we make a big change like that, that's going to cost a lot of money. We do a whole lot of research. The Silkies lasted way too long, in my opinion. I use them as undergarment. That's what they're good for, and that's about it. And even the new sweats, the tracksuit when that came out, it was flashier than it was functional. I think, in my opinion, love it. Right, and I still have a set, and I wear it occasionally. But I was always on the Western hemisphere. Never PT'd in that uniform. I see it in Quantico and the East Coast. They actually PT in it. I don't know if I'd want to PT in that new sweatsuit. The old style sweats, sure, you PT with sweat bottoms or just a sweat top on. You can still get a good PT, comfortable. Right, I love just a plain old cotton sweatsuit, but it never once PT'd in the new USMC sweatsuit, tracksuit. And I know they even made some changes to that over the years. I have the first version. What do they call the first? So some things are a little bit different. The zippers a little different. The air little vents are a little bit different. But I think it's a great sweatsuit. It's cool. Right, it has a reflective gear right on it, so you don't have to wear that reflective belts. Big USMC, big USMC. Again, I don't know why our PT issued PT gear isn't USMC. Go back to the Scarlet and Gold. That was cool. Bring it back. I loved it. Those of you old timers on here, you know what it is. Love a good green on green. No, that's pretty motivating. That's how you can tell Marines right away, and the new shorts are fitting, right? They fit better. They're more functional. Absolutely love the new PT gear. It's not even new. It's like 20 years old now. But again, that's how we had to adjust. I've been in boot camp. Do they still do the red stripers? First of all, marking your PT gear in boot camp. I think they probably changed that over the years, but as a recruit and as a drill instructor, laid out the green T-shirt. We had the stencils, cut out our platoon number, 1046 SgtMaj, cut out a stencil from cardstock or a piece of cardboard, laid it across the shirt, boot brush, right? Boot polish and a boot brush, just brushed it across. That's how we marked the shirt. You'd have to remark them every now and then. And then the red stripers. Do they still do red stripers? 2 big red stripes on the top and the bottom of your platoon number. Fat bodies. That's how you designated the heavy Marines or recruits, right? They were designated so you knew in the chow line, you knew on PT, you knew to keep an eye out for them on, if you couldn't tell by their size, the red T-shirt or the red stripes on the T-shirt gave it away, the red stripers. I don't think they do that anymore. I'm not sure if they do that anymore. Somebody may have gotten offended or something. And the double wrap. How about the double wrap recruits? I don't even think we marked their shirts. I think we had the little name tag, the little plastic camouflage with the little window in it, right? Your name stamp. You slide the paper in there and you wore it on the button of your blouse, right? And there was one for diet recruits and there was one for double wrap recruits. I think even some allergy recruits. Again, so you can recognize right away that's a double wrap recruit with allergies. And of course, your name. Problem was, I remember as a drill instructor, that's also how drill instructors would make sure you get thrashed later, right? Caught recruits doing something they shouldn't have been doing. They would pull that baby off. Problem is, it would tear it. It would tear the little plastic piece. Then they have to buy new ones. They have to replace it. And you find recruits walking around without them. But as a drill instructor, it was easy because you don't always remember that platoon of 89, which one you need to thrash later. So rip that baby off. Firing on the range, remember that on your range coat? That was called range jacket. There's a button on the back you had to sew on so you can put your name on there so you know who is shooting because you can't tell who it is underneath and behind the rifle. Now they put name tapes on. They don't put name tapes on right away in boot camp. I'm guessing that's a third phase thing as well, right? And how cool was that in boot camp? Again, old timers, the first time opportunity you had to iron on the Eagle Globe and Acre, the USMC. Now I'm sure it's when you turn your camis in, get them back with the USMC over your heart, your name. That's a significant time in boot camp as well. Obviously, receiving the Eagle Globe and Anchor, EGA. When you receive that EGA, that's another significant milestone in boot camp. And that's obviously towards the end. Just great feelings all the way through. But uniforms, we've gone through some changes, minimal comparatively to the other branches of service. But we definitely have. If you can get a hold of a yearbook, right, from before your time, check that out. And for the longest time, they used stock photos for probably about 10 years. It's just a lot of printing, funding. So there's some stock photos of field training that you see and you can recognize. We didn't have those. Steel pots. I think in my yearbook, there's some steel pots, the helmets that they used to wear. We didn't wear those in boot camp. So every now and then there's in those yearbooks, old photos. And then who knows how often they update it. But if you haven't busted out your yearbook from boot camp, check it out. And definitely new Marines getting ready to go, make sure you purchase one. I don't even remember if it was an option or not. It was just something that drill instructor told me sign here. I just bought myself a yearbook. Rings, I don't think I bought a ring. Didn't they sell Marine Corps rings? also in boot camp. I didn't purchase one of those. I ended up buying one later. I think I got one later, but never wore it. But those are do it. Do it all. You want to save that stuff forever. Going to my daughter's graduation, the swag that they sell for that platoon. I think we even bought a little mini guide on of her platoon. She was the guide. So we did purchase some of the swag that they try to sell you. And of course, it's all marketing, but you'll want it later in life. Even if you didn't like your 4 years, you couldn't wait to get out. Later in life, you're going to want it. And because they're all great memories. It's shared misery with friends that you may not speak to them in a long time or ever. Social media, it's easier to keep contact with those buddies now and just reminisce about old times. You'll come across someone. I think I told you about that time we took a trip to Maui, and I remember my kids saying, "Well, good, you don't know anybody on Maui. You're not going to run into old buddies, old Marines. This will be just family time." And we're in the pool at this hotel having a good time, just a family. And all of a sudden I hear, "CC, is that you?" And it was a boot camp buddy that we went to boot camp with. And he said he heard my voice. We're all in the pool. It's crowded. It's a hotel pool. He recognized my voice, or he just, when he heard it, he, had to do a double take. And then he recognized the tattoo on my back. He's like, "That is you. Oh my God, you're a guy." So you never know. And even the swag you purchase as a Marine, because it's in every Marine Corps exchange. There's tons of stuff, tons of cool stuff. And they got the websites, Sergeant Grit, the SFMF shop. They have all these things. I don't remember. I didn't. I do remember. I didn't wear a whole lot of Marine stuff off duty. Wasn't that I wasn't motivated. Is I think it's because I was living it, right? I'm an active duty Marine. Why would I wear well, and look at today. It's not even a USMC shirt, but it is a patriotic shirt. But I got to believe 90% of my T-shirts now, even polos and hoodies and stuff, is all Marine Corps stuff. Now, guy, there's Marine Corps stuff on my truck. You saw me I just put the fist SFMF. My tail lights are Eagle Globe and Acres, right? My steering wheel cover has two other Marine Corps emblems on it. Even my smell good, what's it called? The air freshener is Eagle Globe and Acre. So thing that happens when you get out. It doesn't matter what kind of experience you had in the Marine Corps. It's that pride that never ever goes away. And meeting another Marine on the street or seeing a guy, I like the old guys you see with the hats on. We didn't run into him. He was going a different direction. My wife said, "Go talk to him." Just wasn't the right opportunity. It's better when you like make that eye contact and it's like, hurrah, hurrah, Semper Fi Marine, huge. It's just a feeling that goes through your body. But you, she knew right away he was a Marine. First of all, he had on shorts, belt, polo shirt tucked in, baseball cap, Marines, retired era, somewhere on it. Had a watch on because all good Marines know what time it is. I mean, he just was a Marine of Marines, right? Him and his wife shopping at a grocery store. We're in Costco, Sam's, or something, and he just can tell this dude's a Marine, and he was a bad, what in his day. Still, he had to be 80 years old, 70 something.
Pushing 90.
Yeah, 80s. He was in his 80s. Squared away, fresh haircut, fresh shave, shirt tucked in, polo era. He looked the Marine for it. That's amazing. Seeing those guys, and I would have loved to have bumped in. I didn't want to chase him down. Hey, Marine. He may have. Yeah, now I feel bad. I probably should have. Right. And you tell those guys when you see them in the hat and just walking by a grocery store, sometimes I don't want to scare them either. Hurrah! But say Semper Fi Marine, huge, huge. And I can't wait for the day. And I'm that old guy and the young Marine, Semper Fi Marine, huge, awesome camaraderie, teamwork, all that stuff that you know, at some point we spilled the same blood and the same mud. We had a shared miserable experience somewhere along the way, and it's something that will never ever die. Hence the point of this whole community. All y'all on there, you know what I'm talking about. Look at Josiah, almost every day in HEB. That's a shopping supermarket every day. All right, the same ones you see, the traditional. I mean, have one here, the EU Globe and Anchor, United States Marine Corps sticker that's very recognizable. That foil. I see one right over there. I don't know if you want to get it for me. That traditional stick, a little round sticker you see in the corner of windows, depending on what state you're in, it could be on their license plate, a DV license plate, a USMC license plate, some kind of era spelled in their license plate. I had one that said era at one time. Just the difference, the pride, man. It's just plain and simple. It's that pride you carry for the rest of your life. You know, my favorite Marine meme. Join the Marines so I can talk trash the rest of my life. All right. All right. Start wrapping up this helicopter and go for that landing. Hopefully it's a smooth landing, not like that one on the ship. Lake Kiki says, get in enough trouble to get out as an E1, still have tons of pride. Get in enough trouble, get out as E1, still have tons of pride. Amen, Lake Cookie. Marine of Marines, right there. Got out as an E1. Second award E1 was the third award E1. Tons of pride. Awesome. How about the, and if you haven't, when you're doing brisket, yeah, brisket, it's brisket time, Josiah. The producer's like, okay. She said yes. When? She said always. She's ready. Yeah, let's go soon. Um, that same USMC feeling is when, and we won't get on that topic now, but it's the stolen valor ones, and that's how, again, you know, right away, you can tell within the first couple seconds if he or she really was a Marine. And it's just little stuff, the stuff we talk about here every time. And it's that noticeable, that much of a difference between branches of service, right? We all have our own language, and it's similar military lingo, but even the Army is different. Army guys can tell right away if you're in the Army or not. Air Force guys, I'm sure they can tell right away if somebody was really in the Air Force. And the Marines have it as well. Right away, I'm positive if I had any doubt if this guy or girl was really in the Marines, it would take me seconds to realize if they were or not. Don't know the basic answers. Yeah, I was in Camp Pendleton. One or two follow-on questions, you would know. You'd know right away. All right, respect to the Corps, and respect to Corps. Marines are a true brotherhood. Old man retired 20 years. Hoorah. Get some. Hi, Jay. Awesome. The old Marine was a PFC with 4 service stripes. Private, a PFC with 4 service stripes. I saw that one time. Checking out. I was checking out somewhere. This dude had a stack of ribbons, a whole bunch of service stripes, Lance Corporal. He had gotten in trouble. I could see the old stitching from his bigger rank and signature, and that was there at one time. So he got in a little trouble. Some of the best machine gunners I worked with were 3 award Lance Corporals. It happens. Look at Lake Cookie, best combat engineer in the Corps, left as a private. Corps lost that day. Cobra 65 for sure. You know it. Thanks for the reminder. That's what I was going to talk about. If you haven't had the opportunity as a Marine to go back to whichever recruit depot you went to and walk in that squad bay, a chill will go down your spine. 100%. And then if you hear a drill instructor, the hair on the back of your neck will stand up. I don't care how old you are and how long it had been since you were in boot camp. All those feelings will go through you. Then you hear a platoon yelling, "Yes, sir, get on the quarterdeck, thrashing." Just the smell of a squad bay alone will get that feeling. So obviously I went back as a drill instructor. I was a drill instructor and a sergeant with the campaign cover on 6 years after I had been in boot camp as a recruit. The first time walking in that squad bay, all those feelings went through me. There's no way. The smell, the racks, the aura of the squad bay does that to you. So can you imagine, again, if you haven't had the opportunity to go back, again, whatever depot you went through, that same feeling, even going to Paris Island for my daughter's graduation, going into her squad base when she got all her gear, just boom, just walking and getting the feel of being in the squad base, seeing all the racks perfectly lined up, every rack made, Foot Locker, their body bags were hanging, the clothing bag was hanging on the back, their packs perfectly lined. It's a feeling that you don't get anywhere else. I don't know. Again, I'm guessing all the other services could have the same experience, but just remembering the 3 months of hell that you went through during your time as a recruit, and to be able to just stroll in there, put my hands in my pocket, and just, it's a great feeling. So if you ever get the opportunity, please try. Chicken ran into my senior in Okinawa, snapped to attention in the chow hall. Just shook his head and laughed. It happened as drill instructors when I'd come across old recruits. Again, it was still an awkward beginning of a conversation. You were my drill instructor. We're both Marines now, brother. Let's talk about it. Let's have a good time. JTB, I'd probably thrash you if I ever saw you in real life, though. It is. It's very cool. I ran into my drill instructors later on in my career. At one point, my senior drill instructor was my neighbor in Camp Pendleton. We're sergeants major at the same time, which was very cool. He pinned one of my sergeant major rank insignias on. Ran into my J while I was an instructor at the Staff NCO Academy. I was a gunny. He was a master sergeant. Two of my instructors were there. So very cool. It is awesome seeing your drill instructors later. And another opportunity or another, yes, you in the front.
Junkins crew had a question.
John McJunkin's crew.
It said, Andrew, thinking of joining the Marines after you graduate next year, asks if you can wear any of the SFMF merch to boot camp just to see if the drill instructors would dare take them from him. Let us know.
Andrew, who's going to boot camp, a challenge to you. Wear your SFMF merch to boot camp. They're going to take it from you. They're going to take all your stuff from you, right? They're going to completely strip you down. So, yes, they will take it. And your drill instructors aren't even the first ones you're going to see. So they may not see it, but they'll see you at MEPS and then on to receiving barracks. There will be, so I take it back. When you get off the bus, so the drill instructor on the bus and the drill instructors who receive you off the bus, and when you get on the yellow footprints, you'll be in your civilian attire for a couple hours at the most, an hour, depending on how, if you go in the summer and it's busy, whatever. But they're going to strip you of all that stuff, but wear it. And then as soon as you graduate boot camp, let us know how it went, if anyone recognizes it. We're not that big of a channel yet, but when we were at the depot a couple months ago last year, we did get recognized. And someone said, we talked about it, had a conversation about it, but that felt pretty cool that miles away there are some, the channel's not that big yet, but it's cool when people do recognize it and see it. So do it. Absolutely. Wear the shirt and let us know how it turns out. So the producer saying you're gonna get thrashed just like I did, showing up with a devil dog tattoo on my back.
You can bring the receipts to do it.
Do it. Do it and let us know. I'm excited. Can't wait to hear about it.
Tell him to reach out and we'll give him a free shirt.
Yeah, if he doesn't, Andrew, if you don't have a shirt already, reach out, contact us. We're going to give you that shirt to wear to boot camp and let us know how it goes. All right. And definitely, if they ask you, what does that shirt mean? You tell them. You tell them what it means. And then tell them to subscribe to the channel and watch it. All right. All right, everyone. Great night. Wednesday night. Happy Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you on Sunday. We definitely will be back on Sunday. Be safe, be safe, stay motivated, and be aggressive. We'll definitely see y'all soon. Appreciate y'all. God bless and Semper Fi, my friends. Era.